I'm talking to all of you parents of adult single children. You want your kids to marry the right person, don't you? Well, that's what this chapter is all about. Abraham wanted his son to marry the right person. There were certain things that were non-negotiables in that desire. Let's find out all about it on today's episode.
Welcome to Everyday Truth with Kurt Skelly. We believe the Bible is true and relevant to everyone, everywhere, every day. If today's conversation is a help to you, take a moment to leave a review or share it with a friend. Thanks for listening. Now, let's join Kurt for today's episode.
Hey friends, welcome to today's episode of Everyday Truth. I cannot wait to start this chapter. This is the longest chapter in the book of Genesis, and it's all about a big wedding. A couple that's going to meet, fall in love, get married. It's a lot different than the way it goes on today on your average Hallmark movie, but wow, it is such an exciting chapter. It's a narrative, so it's one big story. We won't be able to cover it all in one episode, but I'm excited to get it started today. So Genesis 24, and look at verse 1. We know that Sarah has died. Now, Isaac is not yet married. Abraham, of course, we know, has been given the promise from God that he will be the father of many nations. We have seen that faith tested on several occasions. First of all, we saw it tested in the fact that Abraham and Sarah couldn't even have children. And then we saw it tested in the fact that when they had a child, God said, okay, give that child back to me. So how's the promise going to be fulfilled if you give the child back to God? And of course, that was just a test of faith. And now in a third way, really, that faith is being tested in the fact that Isaac is getting older. He has no wife, therefore no children. So how can the promise be realized if Isaac has no bride? So Abraham now makes it A1 priority that I'm going to find a wife for my son Isaac. And there's a whole lot that we can learn about this quest for a wife. Now, some of you might be listening to this podcast and maybe you're on quest for a wife. And I can't tell you that this pattern, this cultural pattern, should be your pattern. Certainly it won't be. But are there principles that we can learn about marriage and seeking to be married and all that involves that would apply to us? I think so. So let's dive in. Let's see what God has for us on this great story of Abraham is looking to find a bride for his son, Isaac. Look at verse 1. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house. So that would be the steward. That would be the one that would be the steward, the property manager, the one that would have power of attorney, the one that would be the leader of the other servants. And remember, Abraham has a pretty extensive household. So household would refer not just to biological relations, but to all of your hired servants, all of your employees, to put it in that vernacular. And here, Abraham goes to his eldest servant, Eleazar, that ruled over all that he had, kind of like what Joseph was for Potiphar. So he goes to him and he says, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven, the God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell. Wow. So this whole quest for finding a bride for Isaac begins with a non-negotiable prohibition. And the non-negotiable prohibition was this: swear to me, swear by God himself that you will not allow my son to marry somebody that is a Canaanite. Why? Because these were people that did not believe in God. These were people that were not part of the covenant promise. These were people that this would be an unequal yoke with an unbeliever. And Abraham looked at that as the number one negative priority in a quest for a wife for his son. And here's what I would say. In our modern society, we don't necessarily arrange marriages anymore, although I think we might do okay if we went back to that system, but that's a whole different argument. It's funny, when you're a young person, I don't believe in arranged marriages, but then when you become a parent, I believe in arranged marriages. And then when you become a grandparent, I really believe in arranged marriages. But the point here is this, that the principle should apply. And so what are some principles here? I think, first of all, a principle would be, I think it is wise to have godly parents involved in training the thinking of their children about their life's choices when it comes to marriage. And I feel like that's a really good non-negotiable to begin with. And that is, I would never, ever, ever consider marrying somebody that would not be in complete agreement with my faith choices, that would not be in complete agreement with my relationship with God. I do not ever intend to be unequally yoked. So in our context, that means I'm not dating unsaved people. I'm not dating people that are projects that I have to evangelize or that I have to disciple. No, but I'm looking for somebody who's already in agreement, whose mindset already is in harmony with mine when it comes to theological choices and beliefs. Look at verse number 4. He says, "But thou shalt go unto my country, to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac." So 3 times Abraham in one verse reiterates that ownership, my country, my people, my son. Why? Because Abraham feels a real sense of obligation here. And I would just say that when it comes to our children and their choices and their lives beyond our lifetime, there ought to be a sense of obligation that we parents feel. Certainly an obligation to pray, certainly an obligation to counsel, certainly an obligation to put the weight of our authority or the weight of our resources behind good and right choices that our children will make. Now remember, Abraham still has family, but they're not in the country. Lot is a different story, but he's messed up. So what does Abraham do? Go back to my family. Remember, they're in Haran, named after his late brother Haran, and his brother Nahor is there, but Nahor has died, but Nahor has 8 sons. We talked about this a couple chapters ago. And the youngest of those 8 sons is a man by the name of Bethuel. And Bethuel has a son by the name of Laban and a daughter by the name of Rebekah. We've already seen that mention almost as a foreshadowing element back in chapter number 22. So here Abraham says to Eliezer, so I want you to go to my country and there choose a wife of people that would share my worldview. Look at verse 5. "And the servant of the Lord said unto him, Peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring back thy son again unto the land from whence thou camest?" So it's a logical question. The logical question is, well, okay, I will go and I will do what you've told me to do, but what if I go to this far off land and I find the right girl and she doesn't want to go? I mean, I can understand what that would be a real possibility. Why would she want to come with me to see somebody she's never met, to live in a land where we don't even have a permanent dwelling, land to which she has never gone? I mean, it might be that she, or better, her authority says, no, you bring the young man to me. Don't bring me to him, bring him to me. So what do I do if that happens? And I love Abraham's response to that. Verse 6, "And Abraham said unto him, Beware thou, that thou bring not my son thither again. Don't you dare bring Isaac there. The Lord God of heaven, which took me from my father's house, from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land, he shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou wilt be clear of this my oath, only bring not my son thither again. Now, wow, I wish I could spend a few days just breaking down this section, because what Abraham says is just so spot on and so full of faith. So here's what Abraham starts with. Number one, that is not a negotiable situation. Eliezer, you're not going to bring my son back. Now, if she decides not to come back, then she does have free will. And if you find the right girl and she makes the decision, she's not willing to come back, then you are absolved of your oath. Then you're off the hook. You don't have a responsibility, because people have free will. She may choose not to do what she should do, and I can't control necessarily the choices of other people. But let me tell you what will happen. Okay, I've given you a command, and my command is based upon a promise that God gave me. And the promise that God gave me is that I am going to live in this land, and this land belongs to me and my children, therefore to Isaac. So I am not going to leave what God gave me. So here's what God's going to do. He is going to set this thing up. He's going to send an angel on ahead. That angel's going to get things ready. You're going to go and you're going to see that God is at work ahead of us. And I'll say this, every time we endeavor to go out and do something right for God, God promises that he'll go before us. And that's what Abraham is saying here. He's going to send an angel before you, Eliezer, and he's going to be the front man. He's going to prep this thing. And you're going to see God working in this situation. And if for some reason the human will says no, then you are absolved of this obligation. So what do I see? I see great faith on the part of Abraham. Great faith to say, God, I believe your promise. You've put me here. I am not leaving. I'm not allowing my son to leave. This is a non-negotiable. Sounds like a lot different Abraham than the one that very flippantly and almost cavalierly ran off to Egypt when he first got to the land of promise. Now, he's not making that mistake again. No, he's not going to allow any reason, even a reason that seems justified. Like, wow, I've got to go get a wife. I've got to go get a wife. I mean, I can't have a nation unless my son has a wife. I mean, if she doesn't come back and my son has no wife, then I won't see the promise. See, Abraham's learned some things. He's not trying to manipulate anymore. He's not trying to pull a Hagar. He's not trying to pull an Egypt. No, he's learned. His faith has grown. And he's like, Lord, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust your promise. I can't control what people decide, but I can control what I decide. And I'm not going to make decisions based upon manipulation or what works out. I'm going to make decisions based upon what is right and wrong according to my faith. And that's exactly what the Lord wants you to do, and he wants me to do. So the Bible says in verse 9, the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, and swore to him concerning that matter. So that's it. I think we'll stop there, but I know that you're wondering, well, what happened? Okay, that sets it up. The servant goes, what ends up happening? Well, you're going to have to wait, because the plot thickens, as they say, and you're going to see a marvelous way by which God sent his angel ahead and cared for a situation that just seemed impossible. But you'll have to wait until next episode. So until then, have a great day in the Lord. God bless you, my friends.